And welcome back into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. We are live breaking down all the latest on America's team, including the news that just came across the wire. Perrion Winfrey is heading to injured reserve. We can probably go to the bio now that I think about that. No details on who will be coming up to his active roster spot, but Winfrey has been placed on IR due to his back injury. So he's going to miss at least the next 4 games. We'll see how much he misses beyond that, if anything. But Winfrey is headed to injured reserve. I just put that short up out on the channel moments before we were going to go live. So the timing was very much tight on that thing. Winfrey will be headed to injured reserve on today. Has been officially placed on that front. All right, what is your confidence level in the Cowboys beating the Giants? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. What's your confidence level? Get those votes in for me on today's show, as I will rapidly tweet out the Perrion Winfrey IR very quick fire short on that front. So Winfrey headed to injured reserve. What's your confidence level on beating the Giants? I feel very good about beating this team because they're not a good team. Like this is a team you have historically dominated as long as your quarterback has been healthy. He is healthy going into this game. Even if you were playing Joe Milton, like I think you would have a very real opportunity to be able to take him down and take care of business. So I feel pretty good about this game. 10 is always a lot because it's a 10 out of 10. But I would say it wouldn't be a surprise to me if the Cowboys took care of business. And let me put it this way: I have already taken the Cowboys minus 5.5. I feel very confident in this one. So get your comments in. I see 10, 8, 9, 7.8. 1 billion on that front, which again, hey, I get it. I think this is a game that you shouldn't have any issues with. That doesn't mean you take it in of, I'm going to be able to handle this and blow them out. You should be locked and loaded on this front. But it's a game you should win. It is an extremely winnable game for the Cowboys. It would be a disappointment if they did not win this game. This is the type of team that they should have no issues beating. If they don't beat alone, I think we're going to have a real conversation about this organization and how you were unable to take them down. This is the type of game that you should be able to do and win and frankly blow out. If you don't, question a lot of things. Question a lot of things on that front. So what is your confidence level in the Cowboys beating the Giants? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. 10, 9, 8, 10, 7.8, 7, 10, 9, 8, 8 again. You should win. You should win. Now, there had been some uncertainty around the Giants and just who their quarterback was going to be in this particular game. It is going to be Russell Wilson. So with that in mind, what is your confidence level in the Cowboys taking down, sorry, I messed it up. Are you glad Russell Wilson, that's what I get for trying to Instagram and speak. Are you glad Russell Wilson is starting in week 2? Y for yes, N for no. Get those votes in for me in the comment section of today's show. Y for yes, N for no. I think it's a maybe higher floor outcome relative to the unknown and Jaxson Dart, but also I don't think Russell Wilson is very good, so I'm not exactly concerned on that front. I don't have any concerns with it. I think you can very much make the argument this is just going to be a positive thing. So are you glad Russell Wilson is starting in week 2? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments of today's video. I haven't seen a single no in there yet. Everything is coming up yes, and I am inclined to agree. This is the type of game that should benefit you. You should be able to blow out Russell Wilson. It's all yeses. He has not been the same guy since he left Seattle. Even down the stretch in Seattle, he wasn't the same guy either. So I vote yes. Let me know in the comments of today's show. The super chat menu. Any super chat equals a shout out. A $5 super chat equals a raffle entry. $10 equals 3 raffle entries. $50 for a shot. $100 for a beer bong. Get those super chats in 5, 10, 50, and 100. Any super chat gets you entered or gets you on the screen. $5 for the raffle entry, $10 for 3 raffle entries, $50 for the shot, $100 for the beer bong. We haven't picked out yet what the raffle entry will be. I'll make the call by that maybe in time for the final decision, like probably before Thursday, before the game. But we'll have the raffle entry. It'll be something good again, just like it was for the signed Deron Bland jersey. We'll have something good this time. So that is the super chat menu. Before we dive into our show, how many NFL games did you guys watch yesterday? Let me know in the comments. And partial games is fine too. Like if you watched a quarter of the Dolphins Colts, which is mostly what I did, and then it was kind of like on the phone as an extra one. I watched all of Giants Commanders, don't prepare. So how many NFL games? And all of them also works. Whether you're watching Red Zone, Quad Box is maybe the best invention known to mankind. Like I love it. I love the Quad Box. Like, I can't watch every game, but the 2 TV setup sometimes allows to get really weird with it. Like it's fun. So how many NFL games did you watch yesterday? I'm going to do a quick Instagram post here and give some shout outs at the same time. Perion Winfrey heading has been placed. Well, I guess the Red Zone Octobox. I was not watching Red Zone yesterday, but I'm assuming the Octobox did. That's always fun that happens. IR by the Cowboys. There we go. Just trying to go rapid fire here. 7-5-2. 4 partials, all Sunday Night Football. How good of a game was Sunday Night Football? Unbelievable. And to the point that I thought that game was over, and I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't have a money line on that game, thank God, because I probably would have melted down at some point. Just wildly impressive. 10 all. Green Bay game was good. I disagree. It was not good because the Packers won, and I am actively cheering against the Packers every single game. I don't want them to win. It is better if the Cowboys come out on top, but obviously, it's second best thing, Packers lose. Get that draft pick higher. So I am actively cheering against Green Bay every game, which I don't normally cheer against teams, but when they have my first round pick, guess what? I need to. That's just how it goes. So, a $5 super chat from Carson Grona coming in. Can you break down the practice squad? Heard Isaiah Land was on it. He is on it. Let me get you into our raffle entry real quick here, Carson. Then I'll rattle off the practice squad right now for the Cowboys. So I'll kind of go position group here. Will Grier is the quarterback on the practice squad. Malik Davis is the running back on the practice squad. Jalen Brooks, Jalen Cropper, Ryan Flanoy, and Trayshawn Holden are the wide receivers. Rivaldo Fairweather, Princeton Fant are your tight ends. Jaron Christian is your lone offensive lineman on the practice squad. Ernest Brown IV is there at defensive tackle. Adedeo Odeleye, who is the International Player Pathway Program, is there as kind of a defensive end more than anything else. Justin Barron, Buddy Johnson are linebackers. Isaiah Land, also an edge rusher, by the way. He is on there. And then it's Zion Childress, Robert Rochelle, and Elijah Clark are the additional players on that practice squad, 17 total. Now, with Perion Winfrey going to IR, the Cowboys haven't filled that roster spot yet. I'm betting they will by week 1 or by week 2. Might be able to kind of take their time on that decision, just in case in the event of an injury or something on that front. That will be an additional practice squad spot potentially coming open, but that's how the 17-man spot breaks down for the Cowboys. Muology, a.k.a. Jace, another entry into the raffle, says, Tortilla Chase, hashtag Datgate. Anyway, Giants are getting crushed like my dreams. I would be very upset if the Giants did not take care of business. They should have no issues. It should be a game that the Cowboys blow them out of the water. I'll be upset if they don't win handily. You own this team. I think you have the better players at almost every spot outside of like maybe edge at this point and maybe DT because of Dexter Lawrence. He's that good. You should win. Now, running back wise, I know there's been some concern over that for the Cowboys. So, do you want the Cowboys to trade for a running back? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Plenty of frustration directed at Miles Sanders' way for, I think, valid reasons. Do you want the Cowboys to trade for a running back? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Like that video if you haven't already done so as well. The goal here is always to have that 50% like ratio. We're not even to 25% on the like ratio side, which is pretty disappointing. So coming up on today's live show, we got some good news, I would argue, for the Dallas Cowboys. We will get to that. Some Cowboys trade rumors, ideas, things suggested out there at this time. A mailbag. 2 ways to get on the show as well. You can use hashtag Cowboys, skip the line altogether via Super Chat, just like Muology and Carson did moments ago. Then we'll go into our Cowboys Week 2 preview. All of that is coming up here on today's live edition of the Cowboys Report. So don't go anywhere. Full breakdown coming up right now. The Dallas Cowboys got some big-time news before their Week 2 matchup against the New York Football Giants. The majority of this is going to focus on Russell Wilson, once again being named the starting quarterback for the Giants. That had to be a conversation is actually, I think, pretty significant as it relates to Dallas. Part of the Giants' struggles were on offense and on the quarterback after a pretty poor 21-6 loss that doesn't even feel reflective of how that game went. Could have been a lot more in favor of the Commanders. We'll break down why I think it's actually a good thing that Russell Wilson is going to start for the Cowboys again, or start for the Giants, against the Cowboys in NFL Week 2. Before we dive into that, how excited are you for the upcoming Giants game? They always play early in the season, which sometimes I find frustrating. But how excited are you? Scale it from 1 to 10 in the comment section of today's show. Now, there was one bit of not great news that came across the wire right before we ended up going live today. Perrion Winfrey has been placed on injured reserve. No details yet on who will replace him on the 53-man roster. Would make a lot of sense if it was Ryan Flanoy, add an extra receiver. We'll see. But Winfrey's going to miss at least the next 4 games. The back tightness, clearly more than back tightness if you're going to go on IR and miss several games. So real firm details not yet known, but did want to mention that here before we got going. Now, the Giants are 1 game in to the 2025 NFL season, and I think they already have pretty significant quarterback issues. When we're having, and this is not me, this is our Giants channel, Giants fans in general, having a conversation of like, is it time to go to Jaxson Dart? My boy Marshall Green, who we'll mention on today's show, he had like the 3rd quarter tweet of play Dart. You're a game in, and you're already doing this. That's a really bad sign. Now, Giants head coach Brian Daboll did name Russell Wilson the starter for their NFL Week 2 matchup against the Cowboys. This came on the heels of Brian Daboll not really answering who was going to be the quarterback. There were questions on this. That's why his Monday press conference kind of got going with it. He was kind of awkwardly non-committal about who was going to be the quarterback. It was a long rambling of essentially well, it's just after the game. But that it was a question and he wouldn't answer it, it raised concerns. If you're 1 game into the year and you're trying to figure out the quarterback still and there's uncertainty about the guy you just signed in free agency, you have massive issues. And frankly, look, the reality was Russell Wilson did not play well against the Commanders. A defense that is not bad, but is not an elite unit necessarily either. 17 of 37, 168 yards, just was under duress consistently. We'll get to that here more in depth in a little bit. I don't think he played well. I like having to go against him in Week 2, or maybe getting to go against him in Week 2. Are you glad that Russell Wilson is starting in Week 2 against the Dallas Cowboys? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Are you glad Russell Wilson is starting in Week 2? Go vote in the comments. Talk to my guy, Marshall Green. We'll do the F-Marshies later in the week. Don't worry, folks. About the whole quarterback thing. And he told me that it's obvious Brian Daboll is ready to play Jaxson Dart. The Giants do not score a touchdown in the first half against Dallas next week. I think Jaxson Dart will start the second half. Look, Russell Wilson does not scare me. I have several memes ready to go, one of which is a reply to Marshall on social media. He tweeted, "Why am I trying to talk myself into Russell Westbrook for the Knicks?" I said, "For the same reason you're trying to talk yourself into Russell Wilson for the Giants." Here we are a week in. He's calling for Jaxson Dart to start. The Giants and Russ, the writing was on the wall. If this doesn't suddenly get way better, hopefully that's the case, because it didn't work in Denver. It didn't work in Pittsburgh. In general, this time it'll be different guy doesn't normally work out. But it did work out for week 1 for Daniel Jones and the Colts, which, by the way, all of a sudden Daniel Jones, this might be a Dolphins issue, by the way, but Daniel Jones leaves the Giants and puts up his best game in how many times? How many chances? I think that might be a damning indictment on Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka, too. Have Russ play bad, Daniel Jones look good, stick with Russ, not go to Dart yet. I think that's a win for the Cowboys. More on this to come. Before we dive into it, today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. It is simple to play. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. It is the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 plus states, including California, Georgia, and of course, Texas. Little Monday Night Football Prize Picks action for you. Justin Jefferson, more than a half touchdown. Caleb Williams, I'm a bit worried about that Vikings defense matchup, less than passing yards. Will Reichard, more than 1.5 field goals made. The power play or the flex play on that. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Now, one of the things Marshall said post-game was the Giants lost because the same issues from last year are still there. One of them is quarterback play under pressure. Russell Wilson was bad per NFL's next-gen stats under pressure. 5 of 16 for a meager 51 yards and an 18.2 success rate, which normally is was the play productive to getting you towards the end zone? So first down, can you get 5 or 6? Third down, do you get the first down? 18.2% of the time was it. It wasn't good. Even some of the completions were just checkdowns, not enough to get the first down there. That's noteworthy to me. The Cowboys did pressure Jalen Hurts. Now, they did not bring him down. They had too many missed chances. He was able to buy time with his legs out of the pocket, get first downs, etc. Russell Wilson is not Lamar. He's not Hurts. He can still move a little bit. But I think he's easier to sack than Jalen Hurts is. And I think that you can argue the Cowboys' front four is at least as good as the Commanders, or at least not enough of a difference to justify it being significantly less. Now, to be fair, the Giants did not have Andrew Thomas in that game in week 1. Also, to be fair, he may not play in week 2 either. That I asked Marshall, he's going to be back. He's like, I don't know. I hope, but I'm kind of done with the hope stuff. So we'll see later in the week as it goes along. But it wasn't just James Hudson, the replacement for Andrew Thomas, who struggled, although he had a rough game. 6 pressures, a flag. Dorrance Armstrong ate his lunch. But John Runyan, John Michael Smith, Greg Van Roten, Jermaine Illuminor only had 1 hurry, but hey, 2 penalties mixed in there. These are the PFF charting numbers, by the way. All of that is significant. And Marshall also rightly pointing out on social media saying, I don't know who needs to hear this. Andrew Thomas doesn't help Runyan, JMS, and so that's John Michael Schmidt, Greg Van Roten, avoid getting cooked in the run game. Their run game also was not good. I like all of that. I think that all benefits the Cowboys, and why I think it's positive on that front. Now, who do you wish would start? Maybe it is Russell Wilson. Maybe you'd rather see Jameis Winston. The fact that you can make an argument for any 3 guys, what's the old adage? If you have 2 QBs, you have none. What if you have 3 QBs? Do you have negative QBs? I don't know. RW, JW, or GD? Let me know in the JD. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. I think at some point this year we're going to see Dart. I wouldn't rule out seeing him at some point in week 1. There had been the pregame report of the Giants have a package in place for Jaxson Dart. I don't know if they did because they never used it. Which also he's not a package quarterback. Like he's a Lane Kiffin quarterback, which is a bunch of fake stuff and not actually doing real drop back passing game. As good as Dart was in the preseason, a lot of that was I guess you could call it package stuff. He operates and does well in situations that are favorable to him. You can go back and watch all the Florida tape, which they try to scrub from the internet. You can go back and watch his time at Ole Miss. When it's just easy play action, vertical shots, he has. When it is easy on Dart, he makes it look easy. When it is hard on Dart, he makes it look really hard. That's why the pressure stuff is so important. This is a rookie quarterback who has some physical gifts. The consistency was never there at Ole Miss in the moments that mattered the most. It's going to be even harder in the NFL. I bet when we get to the Week 18 game, I bet he's back out there. This week, we'll see. Now, we'll have live coverage for you here all season long on the Cowboys Report. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. Free Cowboys videos each and every single day. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. One very brief note I also want to mention of why I think things went well for the Cowboys in week 1, at least to the Giants and the Commanders. This was a quote tweet from Marshall. The Commanders totaled 432 yards. The defense was not good. I wish people would stop saying that. We will have a full preview available for you on the channel, both early in the week, Tuesday, later in the week on I guess Saturday night before the 1 p.m. game. The Giants defense was bad, so stay tuned for that. All right, how many NFL games did you watch yesterday? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. How many NFL games did you watch? We'll give some shout-outs here as these flow in. 0 from Madman. Hey, if you just want to watch your team, I get it. There's certainly nothing wrong at all with that. Madman says 0. Grant says 0. Robert says 4. Ramon says 4. None from Salty. That's fine. Brian says 1. Brendan says 3. Green Car says 4. In some capacity, I caught at least a pretty good chunk of everything. Quad box is a brilliant invention. Red zone also works. It's just I don't like these people who are if you watch Red Zone, you're not a real fan. Yeah, it's fine. If you have a 4 p.m. game and you want to watch Red Zone at 1 p.m., you're fine. I will not gatekeep you. I think that's really, really stupid. I frankly don't respect trying to gatekeep it like that. It's just from talking heads who also then don't go back and watch Y'all 22. Come on. If you're gonna do that, then you need to be you need to watch Y'all 22. I know you're not. I know you're not doing it. It's dumb. It's dumb. So, how many games did you watch? 3, 5, Red Zone all day. Certainly good answers there, folks. Coming up, this is the Super Chat menu on today's show. Any Super Chat is a shout-out for you on the show. $5 equals a raffle entry. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 for a shot. $100 for the beer bong. That is the Super Chat menu on today's show as we get set up for the next segment here on the Cowboys Report. We are in a share battle this month against Giants Now. These are the numbers going into Monday, so through Monday here. 492 shares for the Giants, 880 for the Cowboys Report. Let's crush them. Help us out. Put today's video out there on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, text it to a friend, whatever. Any and all share helps us here on the Cowboys Report. Want to talk trade a little bit on today's show. I know there's been plenty of social media conversation about trading for a running back, hoping to go get one. There were some interesting comments made by Jaden Blue, or about Jaden Blue, which is also about Mazi Smith, but being consistent. If they don't trust Jaden Blue, boy, it's tough to trust Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams there. I think for the most part, the Week 1 results probably weren't beneficial to you. Some names we have discussed, been asked about on a decently regular basis about potential trade targets. Breece Hall, the Jets, Jonathan Taylor, the Colts, Travis Etienne, the Jags, the good players. the maybe not so good players, the Dameon Pierce, Antonio Gibson, Jerome Ford. What did week 1 bring us? Can you find a team that is willing to trade somebody who's not as good, etc.? Well, the Colts won. Jonathan Taylor was good as he always is. There had been questions like, oh, is Breece Hall going to be the lead back with New York? Well, he clearly was for a team that almost and probably should have beat the Steelers. He went from 19 for 107. Braylon Allen had a touchdown. He also had 6 carries for 9 yards. So, was he actually good? And then Travis Etienne cooked. He looked awesome for Jacksonville. Looked like the best version of himself. Tank Bigsby was just 5 of 12. Tootin was 3 of 11. Especially Hall and Etienne, who had been potential trade candidate guys. Well, if they're going to be the lead backs and not get traded and their teams either win, Jacksonville almost win the Jets, it's not good. Now, you could trade for one of those guys still. You have 2 first-round picks. You can make them not say no to you. But, at that point, if they're contenders, it's going to be a massive overpay. And that's, not what we want. You want to find the value. You don't want to wildly overpay for a 1-year rental of a Breece Hall or Travis. That's not the goal of this, right? The other 3 backs, Ford, Gibson, Pierce, I bet they're available for the right price, but they were bad. They didn't do anything. And then it kind of becomes okay, if the not good backs are available, do they actually make you any better? Do those guys help you? I'm not so sure. That's why you're in that kind of awkward situation where you don't know what you're actually going to be able to get. One player who we'll get to here in a second might make some more sense. But do you want the Cowboys to trade for a running back? This will be the pinned comment on today's video, so go vote at that spot in the comment section. 1 for yes, 0 for no. Let me know in the comments of today's show. Overall, I thought Javonte Williams did some pretty good stuff against a pretty damn good Eagles defense. The 60% success rate matters more than the yards per carry. There was a bunch of short yardage stuff he converted on. That's fine. He had 2 touchdowns of what? A yard combined, 2 yards combined. All of a sudden, your numbers look way better if you're not, if you're just focusing on the success rate. The Miles Sanders fumble was bad, though. That hurts you. The one name that I do want to mention here more in depth is Kenneth Walker III. It certainly seems like he has fallen behind Zach Charbonnet on the Seahawks depth chart. That he is the one who has taken over the lead back duties in maybe a way that not many of us expected. The week 1 snap counts. Charbonnet had 30. Walker had 21. That is still a committee. I do want to emphasize that because Seattle doesn't have great depth behind Charbonnet, so they might prefer to keep their own committee, again, unless you're trying to just overpay, which I do want to mention that. The stats for week 1 then, Kenneth Murray was 10 carries, 20 yards. He was bad. Charbonnet, 12 carries, 47 yards. That's actually pretty solid. Had a touchdown run as well, but it just wasn't that great. And I think Kenneth Walker, this is probably going to be more of a trade deadline situation if they end up moving him. It would probably be closer to the trade deadline because he's gone the wrong way. His efficiency has actually dropped each of the past 3 years. He was at 4.6 in 2022. He was at 4.1 last year, down to 3.7 in 2024. Sorry, 4.1 in 2023. Can he get back to form? With the guy I saw last year and to begin this game wasn't actually that impactful. And outside of touchdowns kind of saving his fantasy stock, might not be what you're actually aiming for in the backfield. That's why I think this spot it's not as easy said as done to get help because you're in September and there aren't as many players available, straight up. Today's show is made possible by Ethos. As a father with 1 kid and a second one on the way, trust me when I say life insurance matters. It's not fun to think about what would happen if something happened to you, but you need to be prepared. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Ethos is a trustworthy company that disrupts the traditional life insurance industry, and it's more affordable than you might think. Ethos is an online platform that makes getting life insurance fast and easy to protect your family's future in minutes, not months. There is no complicated process, and it's 100% online. No medical exam is required. You just answer a few health questions and get a quote in as little as 10 minutes. 3 million families have completed their applications and trusted Ethos to help find the right coverage. So protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. Appreciate Ethos sponsoring us here on the Cowboys Report. Head to a name I know many of you would like to find a way to trade. Mazi Smith. Bleacher Report listing him as their number 3 trade candidate. He was made a healthy scratch in week 1. Brian Schottenheimer, as we've discussed, making some comments about the consistency, which certainly should kind of like send off alarm bells. Like, okay, does that mean you're practicing well, doing the things outside of the games you need to do? Some of the fits that were mentioned by Bleacher Report, frankly, neither of which I like. The Chiefs, who made the trade for Derek Nandi. The Jets, who traded Nandi, but then had previously made a trade for Harrison Phillips. I don't know if either of those teams are the best fit. I'm not going to say no if they come calling. I do wonder if the team we just mentioned, the Seahawks, actually makes some sense. Could they be a team that is in the market for a defensive tackle? Jonathan Hankins is old and banged up. Bohanna's been getting caught up from the practice squad. They have a tie to the organization with Adam Dirty as the defensive coordinator, who was Mazi's D-line coach. That is something that, also Mike McDonald, Michigan, Seattle. There's a lot of ties there that would make it make some sense. Here's what Brian Schottenheimer said about Mazi Smith. I had a great conversation with Mazi just about the consistency. Mazi's going to play a lot of really good football. He's not even begun to reach his peak, but his consistency has not been there. And therefore, if your philosophy is to compete every day, that's what you have to do. Make those decisions. Look, Brian's trying to back his guy. I appreciate that. That sends off red flags and alarm bells for me. Like, you're talking about he's not competing every day. That's basically what he said, right? That's a huge red flag for me. You're in year 3 in a make or break year. You're fighting for your football life and you're not competing, right? What if he's a scratch in week 2? Then we are rapidly approaching the Taco Charlton path, and I don't like that. So what would you do with Mazi Smith? T for trade him, K for you'd keep him. Hope that things get figured out. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. T for trade, K for keep. What's the trade value? Also a very good question on Mazi Smith. Bleacher Report listed that as a 2026 fifth rounder. And frankly, I take it right now. I feel bad saying this. I don't want to write off Mazi, but he hasn't picked up the pen to write back yet. So, what am I doing here? I frankly think that's on the high side. I think a day 3 pick swap, the Sky Moore trade, the Kaiir Elam trade at best is probably a little bit closer to what you're going to end up getting for Mazi Smith. He can't beat out Jay Toia right now. Now, maybe that changes in week 2. Hope it does, frankly, because that means he had a good week of practice. But I saw progress in year 2. The Giants game, he looked so good. And then it's just like he hasn't taken a step forward. The offseason, if we're as good as it was for Tyler Guyton, just kind of concerned it wasn't the case for Mazi Smith. And when the Cowboys do actions like making him a healthy scratch, that concerns me. The contract, I do want to mention this here real quick as well. Cowboys would save $1.96 with a trade. It also gets them out of the cash owed, even more importantly. There's some signing bonus that they've already paid. The savings are probably more cash-focused than cap-focused, but that'd be a win for the Cowboys if they really are truly done with him. 223,000 subscribers is the next goal here on the Cowboys Report. Help us get there. Don't miss out. Hit that sub button instead. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. Multiple videos each and every single day right here on the channel. Let's go to a Jalen Tolbert trade. Our friends over at Fansided, frenemies sometimes, said, hey, maybe the Cowboys should trade Jalen Tolbert to the Chiefs following the Xavier Worthy injury. I do actually kind of appreciate the logic here of like taking advantage of other injuries elsewhere. Rashee Rice is suspended for the first part of the season. Xavier Worthy's going to miss some time. He's week to week. Jalen Royals is banged up. They're out there playing Marquise Brown, Tyquan Thornton, who is just like, he's fast. It's kind of like his entire game and not a whole lot else there. Made some nice plays at least. Juju Smith-Schuster keeps contributing. Brownlee and Remigio are like special teamers. It's like, I get making a call about it. I do. It does leave you thin at wide receiver. You've got 4 guys in the practice squad, though. So, like, you're actually, I think, okay on that side. Like, I don't think it'd be a nightmare necessarily. Tolbert didn't do much against the Eagles. I think the most noteworthy play from Jalen Tolbert was the block. Now, I don't know if he looked like he was almost confused on the play. Like, Turpin's in the flat. Everyone else runs downfield. Is he supposed to be a distraction? He's supposed to throw a block. It just didn't look right. Not sure he ran the right route on the first Lamb drop because he's right in the same area where there shouldn't be. Like, is he struggling with the details? Because if you don't do the details right in any offense, you're going to have issues there. But he was productive in 2024. We will at least always have the idea or the moment of the Steelers touchdown catch. We'll always have that. I will always, appreciate that from Jalen Tolbert. But if I can get my team better, okay, then I consider it. Can I get a linebacker? Can I get a running back? I don't know if you can, but I would keep it under consideration. So would you trade away Jalen Tolbert? Be honest with me. Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Would you trade away Jalen Tolbert? I am not opposed to the idea of shipping out Jalen Tolbert. You have some depth at wide receiver, even if it's mostly on the practice squad. You have your top guys. I do want something back that matters, though. I don't want to just send him off for a day 3 pick swap or something like that. I think there actually is benefits to him being on your roster as a backup at essentially all 3 spots and, in theory, blocking better, if not blocking better in week 1, frankly, and being able to contribute as a special teamer. I think that stuff does matter. And I do wonder if once Mingo gets back and if Mingo can be a part of the offensive wide receiver rotation, which we don't know if he can, is worth mentioning, then that would kind of help sideline Jalen Tolbert a little bit. And you could go with an extra receiver. And Mingo is back on the roster, and you free up a spot that way by trading away Tolbert. That is something you should consider. I'm also curious what ends up happening with Ryan Flanoy. He's got more athletic juice than Tolbert. He's clearly behind him in the pecking order. I don't know if when he gets a shot, but I think if everyone stays healthy in front of Tolbert, you'd be okay. Requires you to stay healthy in front of him. We might change our minds in a week or two if there's a bad injury, knock on wood, but this is what smart teams do. You at least consider the possibility. It's mailbag time here on the Cowboys Report. 2 ways to get in on the show. You can use hashtag Cowboys or skip the line altogether via Super Chat. Get in on the show with hashtag Cowboys or Super Chat. Christopher Timmerman did. We will get you on as part of the mailbag. Of note, Christopher, your $5 Super Chat does get you entered into our weekly raffle. TBD what we're going to end up doing here on that front for the Week 2 game, but we will have a giveaway of sorts, probably something similar to when we did the Ron Bland signing jersey, but something different probably. This is the Super Chat menu. Any super, you get a shout out. Appreciate your Brandon Peacock. Get to your question in the mailbag as well. $5 raffle entry. $10 gets you 3. So some bonus juicing on that front. So certainly do keep that stuff in mind as we kind of begin to move forward with those giveaways. $50 for a shot, $100 for a beer bong. The deal has been, the bosses say I can't drink unless it's actually a part of the show. So, like, if we're getting reasons to do it, because otherwise it's just like, stop Ubering home unless if you can avoid it, Tom, type of deal. So, 5, 10, 50, and 100 is the Super Chat menu. Get your questions in via hashtag Cowboys, and we'll dive into the mailbag right now. From Richard Robinson, a $10 super thanks. He says, what I love about what Sam Williams said, which we broke down on the channel, about the Micah situation. No doubt Micah is a great player, but maybe this is addition by subtraction. The media won't stop talking about it, but Micah won't either. Got his bag and everything he wanted, so I wish he would stop talking and focus on his new team. What are the same? There's a lot of football to be played. Yeah, I was a little annoyed. I forget who asked the question. Like, at the end of the Monday Schottenheimer press conference, like, asked them about Micah Parsons and the Packers. Like, I don't care. Like, I get you're trying to get that quote for Green Bay or something, but, like, I'm over it. Like, he's gone. He is the opposition now. He is the enemy. I don't care. I think Sam Williams was spot on with that take. Like, there might be moments where it makes sense to discuss because we want the Packers to lose games to help the Cowboys draft pick that they now own, but I'm over it. Now, if you want into our weekly raffles on game days, a $5 super thanks does get you entered to win, so send it in right now. Got a couple questions in a row here via Skeptical Fan, via super thanks, as I expect the Cowboys to show no mercy against the Giants in week 2. I want to blow them out of the water. I want to crush them. I will be a bit disappointed if they don't win or at least cover the spread. Also, from Skeptical Fan, curious why Turpin wasn't used more in the run and passing game. He got 4 touches in this one, which is higher than what his average would have been last year. The issue you run into with Turpin is you have to scheme stuff for him. I don't think he's ever going to be a true every down running back, every down wide receiver. He's gotten better at that to where he's a bit more playable and you can use him on motion and stuff. His snap count went up a little bit. But if I'm going to scheme something, I'm going to scheme it for CeeDee Lamb. He's better. Like, you know, there are moments he'll still do it, but like, you know, if you scheme up, let's say it's 15 plays, like I'm not doing 5, 5, and 5. Like it's gonna be like 2 and 7. Like I'm gonna very much, you know, rig it in favor of the better player in CeeDee Lamb. 4 to 5 touches a game is honestly probably a fine figure for Turpin. Just got to be more explosive with them. Says, I hope the Cowboys demote Sanders to third-string running back or red zone only. Counterpoint is if he's going to fumble, I don't want him in the red zone. It's even, not that there's a bad spot or a good spot to fumble. That's a bad one, though. I would like to see more of Jaden Blue. The comments from Schottenheimer kind of make me question about some of the attention to detail. I'll just kind of sum it up that way. But, like, it's not like Miles Sanders is a good option. Like, he got caught from behind. That's kind of disappointing. So pick a running back 2. MS for Miles Sanders, JB for Jaden Blue. Let me know who you want to be the backup in the 2020 behind Javonte Williams. You want to be RB2. MS for Miles Sanders, JB for Jaden Blue. Christopher Timmerman, $5, says the only back I would take and love is A-Chain. Other than that, no. I am extremely curious how things end up playing out in Miami. They were bad in week 1. Like it was really, really, really bad. To the point that like you have to wonder, like, geez, when is this going to be okay? Like it was a mess. So if he's available, sure, but he's also cheap, young, controllable talent, which the Dolphins really lack right now. So I don't know if he's going to be available unless you overpay significantly, and I don't really want to overpay if I can avoid it. $5 from Brandon Peacock. I like our defensive line. I'm wondering how long we have Clark under contract for. Kenny Clark is technically under contract through the 2027 season. The problem the Cowboys are about to face is he's due $21.5 million in 2026. You might not want to pay that. That's a lot of money for a 31-year-old in that season defensive tackle. So that's why it was never like, oh, he's a rental. It was like he might end up being a rental depending on how he plays. They're paying him nothing this year. It's like $2.3 million. But next year, the contract jumps because of an $11 million roster bonus. That is due, by the way, on the 3rd day of the league year. So we'll know quickly in the offseason, but that one's going to have to, be played out a little bit. Juan Ramos. If the Cowboys end up trading Mazi, can they get a decent running back? Or maybe Najee and Tolbert leave free agency. Cowboys should target a wide receiver like Deuce Robinson from Florida State. Hey, Deuce had himself a pretty good start to the season. That entire Florida State team looks just a lot better so far. But in order here, I don't know if Deuce is going to turn pro. I think he's only a true junior. Didn't do a lot for USC. He's almost like a receiver, borderline receiver. He's very unique body type. Not like as big as Benjamin, but kind of tall like him. Anyway, look, you target a receiver if you lose Pickens. That's going to be one of your top options. I think if you're trading Mazi, like I would love to get a running back or somebody good. I don't know if there's much value for Mazi Smith right now. That's my concern. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks does not hit. It is extremely simple to play. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. You get your picks right, you could cash in. This is one of my power play, because you can only do the power play for a 2-pick Prize Picks lineup. More than Terry McLaurin, half touchdown, so 1. And I'm taking the freebie, Travis Kelce, a half passing yard on Thursday night. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. From Strive 365, typical Dallas having the opportunity to win and failing to do so. It was frustrating to have that chance to win the game against the Eagles and be unable to do so. Hopefully, they change that and they take care of business against the Giants. I expect them to do that against New York and beat them. This is a Cowboys team that has owned the Giants historically. It needs to continue in week 2. William Cook, a $10 super chat. So 3 entries into our raffle. Thank you, William. I appreciate that. I don't think there is any top-of-the-market contract after Tyler Smith. Who gets paid after him? Let me go look at the upcoming free agents. It's about guards and Tyler Smith. Got to find free agents here for 2026. Chris Lindstrom is under contract. I need to double check when the Quentin Nelson contract is going to expire. But I'm looking at like the top guys who are going to be free agents. Connor McGovern's not going to get paid big money. Elijah Vera Tucker, if he could ever stay healthy, would be in that conversation probably, but he hasn't done a good job of staying healthy. Both Browns guys, Wyatt Teller, Joel Bitonio, are going to be free agents in 2026, but are they going to command big money? I will say that Quentin Nelson's deal expires in 2027. He's still on the right side of 30s, or just off the right side of 30s, excuse me. I wouldn't be shocked if, he gets paid in the nearest future. Beyond that, it's not the strongest group of guards overall. A lot of them are kind of phased out. If Peter Skoronski ends up being good, he'll have his 5th-year option then. So I think with Tyler Smith, it's okay if you wait through this season, but you should do it before free agency just in case something weird happens. Steven Goltz, none of the other NFC teams look good this week. I know it's only week 1. Thoughts? It is just week 1. I thought the Commanders were better than the score indicates. I thought the Giants played a bad game. I don't believe in New York. I think they have real issues. Philadelphia, you competed against them. Maybe that's a good sign for you. But no, I think the Commanders I thought were better than the score indicated, but they weren't overwhelmingly elite. They were also bad to begin last year, so they just might not be a week 1 team. From Barry, come on, I'm not falling for that, Barry. What are you doing out there? If the Saints stay bad, Alvin Kamara trade. Let me pull up his contract. I know our Saints people here at Chat Sports want Alvin Kamara to be a Saint forever. They have done a lot of stuff with the contract. He doesn't get paid much next year because the way they've done this is they've restructured his contract so many times. If the Saints were to trade him right now, they kind of incur a pretty sizable dead cap hit. It's enough that they could move on and rebuild, but I think this is kind of setting up for 2026 to be his last year. He's on the wrong side of 30, outside of Derrick Henry. I don't love the history there. I don't hate the idea, if he's available on the cheap, but I don't want to give up massive assets for a 30-year-old back. That does worry me. So will the Cowboys make a trade before this year's NFL trade deadline? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Will a trade go down, Y or N? Preston Jones, do you think the Cowboys will sign or trade for an edge rusher? Clowney is still available. I'm going to go with no. I don't think that they will. I know that they need to finish better. I think linebacker was a bigger concern for the Cowboys, frankly. That's obviously not Clowney's game. You don't have a dude. It's fine. You knew that when you traded away Micah. Sam Williams, Dante Fowler, Nealon, Desiraku. I don't think those guys are that much worse, if worse, period, than Clowney. I think James Houston can do some fun stuff for you as a pass rusher. Hopefully one of these young guys, Williams, Nealon, Desiraku, evolve into a dude. But I don't think that, unless someone gets hurt, I think that the Cowboys' plan is just to kind of ride with a rotation that they have. Ignatius Pennyfeather the ninth. What are the odds of a Tyreek Hill trade? Pretty damn low. Look, Tyreek's contract is weird. There was a roster bonus that I think already got paid out, which would mean it makes no sense for Miami to trade him. I get the Dolphins are a mess. You can scour that roster and potentially do a trade deadline deal. I like that idea in general. I don't know if I want Tyreek Hill in this locker room. Like Tyreek and Pickens, didn't you move on from Micah in part because locker room stuff or what the Jones boys would have you believe? Like I don't want to inject that. Daniel M. Thoughts on this trade? Sam Williams and a 2027 first to the Green Bay Packers for Hendrickson and a 2026 sixth. I don't think the Bengals say yes. Now they just redid the Hendrickson contract. That's probably a issue for them. I need to double check because they added a void year to it, which complicates things. But it's doable. I don't know if I want to trade my 2027 firsts. I kind of want to keep them. Like, I think that those would benefit me because I'd be kicking myself if I got the wrong end of the bargain and that 2027 first ends up being really good. Like, that would annoy me to no end. The contract is tradable. But by the way, for Dallas' side are they going to pay Hendrickson what he wants? Are they going to pony up the $35 million per year or whatever for a soon-to-be 32-year-old edge? I don't know if they would. Give me your trade ideas for the Cowboys in the comments section of today's show. Whatever you want to cook up for the Cowboys, drop it for me. Players to trade for, trade away, bonus points if you use like details and not just say trade for a player. That's fine. I'm not going to cry about it, but in the comments of today's show. From Matt Hervey, who is more to blame for the loss, Lamb or Sanders? I'd put it on CD. Like the fumble was bad. They win the game without the Lamb drops. Like I'm pretty confident in that one. So, and I also expect more from CeeDee Lamb. He'll bounce back this week, but I do expect more. All right, appreciate that. And look, Miles Sanders needs to be better. Like, don't get me wrong on that front. He can't fumble either. Like, I do want to. He can't make those screw ups. Like that's not going to fly. Like, you're a pro football player too. Don't make those mistakes. From T-Rex Downey, how I wish this would come true, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Can the Cowboys trade TJ Bass to the Jets for something? You can, but you're asking for Breece Hall. I feel like deep down, it's fine. The Jets made Breece Hall their number one back. They fed him a pretty good amount against the Steelers. I would not get my hopes up on that front. Like the Jets need another guard option. I don't hate that idea. Simpson and Myers are kind of thin right now. My concern is you only get like a day 3 pick back, and right now, does that benefit you? We'll have more Cowboys updates for you all season long. Do not miss out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV for more free Cowboys YouTube videos, news, rumors, and of course, watch parties as well. Do not miss out. Do not miss anything. Hit that sub button right here on the Cowboys Report. All right, we'll get to what's our next question? Not the mailbag one, just whatever the next, who you got. Let's go to who you got here. Let's do that, because let's get to it. Who you got on Monday Night Football? B for the Bears, V for the Vikings. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. B for the Bears, V for the Vikings. Who you got in this one? We'll give some shout-outs as these flow in once I sip some water here. There we go. B or V. I got to cook up my prize pick slate for this game more in depth. I'm going to go Vikings just because I I think that's like I don't know. I just think that's going to be an easier path. Like, I think the Bears are going to be a lot better this year, but I think that Brian Flores is a tough week 1 matchup for Chicago. Hoping for a good game in the end. Who do you got? B for the Bears, V for the Vikings. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. The Super Chat menu, by the way, final call on this one. Any Super Chat equals a shout-out. $5 is a raffle entry. $10 equals 3 raffle entries. $50 is a shot. $100, if we get one, is a beer bong. So help me out on that front. $5 is a raffle entry. $10 gets you 3. $50 for the shot, $100 for the beer bong. We'll bring back the shot wheel for the game, by the way, so stay tuned for that one. If you want the Cowboys to take care of business in Week 2, then like today's video. We have the data to prove it. More likes equals more wins. We didn't get enough likes in our preview against the Eagles, so let's change that this time around. Like the video if you want the Cowboys to take down the Giants and extend their very impressive winning streak. Giants, Cowboys, Week 2 of the NFL season. These two teams always play early, and I'm kind of annoyed by it. At least it wasn't a Week 1 matchup, but I am kind of just like done with them always playing early in the season. Then again, of late, it's been a free win for the Dallas Cowboys. Some stats before Monday Night Football, by the way. All these numbers are before Monday Night Football. So Giants at 30 points per game. If the Bears or Vikings both score at least 7, then they're 32nd in the NFL. So do keep those numbers in mind. Giants were bad in Week 1. Manhandled by the Commanders. Didn't have a very good showing. Allowed a bunch of yards. We'll talk about all that later on in today's show. The Cowboys were far more competitive against I think I would argue, a better team in the Philadelphia Eagles. Cowboys are only 5.5-point favorites. I thought that could have been a little bit higher. Curious if that line rises throughout the week, but I'm on the Cowboys minus 5.5 going into Week 2. Some injuries to watch. Obviously, Perion Winfrey placed on injured reserve on Monday, so not included on here anymore. Malik Hooker didn't have a practice in a not real practice day. A sore toe is what ESPN's Todd Archer called it, so we'll monitor that one. Andrew Thomas battling a foot injury is uncertain for Week 2. That'd be a huge loss for the Giants. It would have to be James Hudson at left tackle again. We'll see if he can go or not. That one will probably go up to the wire, but a big-time injury to watch. Micah McFadden, the Giants linebacker, suffered what looked like a really bad leg injury. It's not like it's still bad, but not as bad as it could have been. Doubt he is going to be able to go at all for probably at least a couple of weeks here. Before we preview this Cowboys versus Giants game, one of my favorite things to do here is type in F Marshy. So spam it for me in the comments section of today's show. Whoever types in F Marshy in the comments, whoever does it the most, will get a free raffle entry into our game day raffle. So spam F Marshy in the comments section for me right now. Let's talk keys to victory here. Number 1, have your quarterback dominate the Giants as he has done for 13 straight starts. Like, he has been incredible in general against the NFC East, but especially against the New York Giants. He's 13-2. The 2 losses, his first 2 starts against the New York Giants. Dak is 13-2 against the Giants, 33-9 overall against the NFC East, and the Cowboys have won 13 straight games against the Giants when Dak starts. They haven't lost one of those games. They've lost with backups, but they haven't lost one of those games with Dak since 2016. That includes the Dak ankle injury game, which would have been a win anyway. Would have been an easier win if Dak hadn't gotten hurt because Dalton almost blew it, but rallied in the end. Cowboys have dominated the Giants. In the words of Marshall Green, Dak Prescott is the Giants' daddy. Stats against the Giants here. Over the course of his career, Dak Prescott averaging 65.3% completion rate, 7.9 yards per attempt, 29 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, almost 4,000 yards in 15 games. How about the 13 games he's won against them? All of these numbers are like MVP-ish. Like 13 games, 68.1%, 8.6 yards per attempt, sitting in the fourth quarter of several of those games. 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He has been awesome against the Giants. I expect more of the same, given how good he was against Philadelphia, even though the numbers weren't very good. What is your confidence level in the Cowboys taking down the Giants? Be honest and scale it for me. 1 to 10 in the comment section of today's show. Key to victory number 2. The run game has to help out. I think you need more from your run game. I thought you got enough against the Eagles, but I think there is the possibility, and Brian Schottenheimer basically said something very similar of he thinks the Cowboys are going to see a bunch of too high shell coverage, therefore you need to be able to run the football. I thought efficiency-wise, Javonte Williams did a pretty good job of that. Miles Sanders had the big run. The fumble was a backbreaker. Turpin was efficient, effective in the small touches that he got, is worth mentioning. The success rate, which is relative to down and distance and yards to gain, was very good. 60% success rate, 50% for Sanders, got stopped short once. The fumble, obviously, which is why, EPA per play, Javonte was pretty much even. Good for a runner. Sanders was negative. Reason why I like this, as Giants' run defense was bad. Again, pre-Monday Night Football stats here, because the other ones aren't in yet. Giants faced about league average, a little bit above league average run rates, just 22 out of 30. But they were second to last in yards allowed, second to last in yards per carry, second to last in explosive runs allowed, dead last in stuff rate, bottom 5 in EPA per rush, second to last in yards before contact, and still bottom 10 in yards after contact. I like all that, baby. That's a good thing. You might be able to run the ball all over the Giants, even though Dak is not Jaden Daniels. I mean, Bill Krosky-Merritt had plenty of room to run against the Giants. Why can't Javonte Williams get going? Today's show is made possible by Ethos. As a father with one kid and a second one on the way, trust me when I say life insurance matters. It's not fun to think about what would happen if something happened to you, but you do need to be prepared. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Ethos is a trustworthy company that disrupts the traditional life insurance industry, and it's more affordable than you might think. Ethos is an online platform that makes getting life insurance fast and easy to protect your family's future in minutes, not months. There is no complicated process, and it's 100% online. No medical exam is required. You just answer a few health questions and get a quote in as little as 10 minutes. 3 million families have completed their applications and trusted Ethos to help find the right coverage for them. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Key to victory number 3, go pressure the quarterback. This is, I'm be sure to change this up each week, but this is one that's always going to be pretty good, especially as you kind of overhaul your front four. Russell Wilson was bad under pressure against the Commanders. I don't think the Commanders' pass rush is light years better than what the Cowboys should be able to do. So I think it is a reasonable comparison here. 5 of 16, 51 yards, a couple of sacks, a horrible 18.2 success rate. Dak dealed, sort of hurts, by the way, when pressured. Russell Wilson did not. Seems like it matters. In fact, again, going into Monday Night Football, the pressure rates allowed, Giants were 4th at 48.9% of the dropbacks. That's bad. 22 pressures in total. There's some sacks, some scrambles mixed in there, of course, with Russell Wilson's stats. The Cowboys were 6th pre-Monday Night Football in pressure rate, 42.4%, with 14 total. I don't know. That sounds pretty good to me. If you can finish those pressures into sacks, that's how you win football games. That's how your defense, maybe not 40-0 again, but takes care of business. Give me your score predictions of the Cowboys against the Giants. Let me know in the comments of today's show. I'll get to my score prediction at the end of today's video. Number 4 is you need CeeDee Lamb to bounce back. This is, I would argue, your best player. Apologies to some other guys on your roster, but I think if you're picking the best player on the Cowboys, I think CeeDee Lamb is the correct answer here. The drops can't happen. You can't have, especially in general, be in the moments. I need my best players to deliver at their best in the biggest and brightest moments. Unfortunately, Lamb did not do that. Now, the good news is he's torched the Giants in the past. And I would very much anticipate something similar. In 10 games played, even though it hasn't always been Dak Prescott out there as the quarterback, 88 targets, 61 catches, 859 yards. That's 14.1 average. In total, 5 touchdowns. I think he is an awesome player. They were playing Andrew Phillips a bunch in the slot. They were trying out Cordell Flott a little bit at corner. There was a lot of Paulson Adebo. Deontay Banks is just like hardly playing for the Giants. Like he's essentially been benched. Like I don't think there is a corner on the Giants that can hang with CeeDee Lamb. He got Quinyon Mitchell a few times. No one can hang with Lamb. He should torch New York. Now, if you want even more Cowboys coverage, like our watch parties for the Cowboys-Giants game, live at least an hour and a half before kickoff, don't miss out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. Final key to victory? Maybe a cop-out, maybe not. Hey, don't get out-coached. Like, you shouldn't, with the way the job that Brian Daboll's done, I have some question marks there. Don't let them out-coach you and get yourself into trouble because you weren't good enough. This should be a game in which Brian Schottenheimer can showcase he is worthy of being an NFL head coach. You know, I wasn't sure you're going to be able to out-coach the Philadelphia Eagles. Times I felt like you did. Not always, but at times. I need a good game from Brian Schottenheimer. Like, you should deliver on the stuff that we liked in week 1 and keep it going. That's big for me. I do need that good game from Brian Schottenheimer. That's going to be Brian Schottenheimer against Shane Bowen, who is the Giants defensive coordinator, who is not bad, but he's not like unbeatable. This is not a Shoddy versus Brian Flores moment, right? Like this is a matchup that I think you can certainly win. After that, it's Matt Eberflus against Mike Kafka. Kafka is reportedly calling the plays, by the way. Again, I think that is a winnable matchup. Or even if it's tied, you have more talent. I'm not always going to get to say the Cowboys are the more talented team. I think they absolutely are the more talented team this week. So hopefully that shows. Otherwise, it would be a little bit disappointing. As promised, my score prediction. I like the Cowboys to cover in this one, take a lead, and just kind of grind out the clock on the ground. 27-13 is my score prediction. This one, the spread, as we mentioned, is 5.5. I like the Cowboys to win and cover against the Giants. Back to the G-Men here. Are you glad Russell Wilson is starting in week 2? Y for yes, N for no. Hit that vote button and go. I do have 2 scores. 5.5. You should win. Maybe he meant 2 scores by the Giants. Yeah, whatever. Some field goals mixed in there. It's fine. You should win. I think the Giants will be better than they were against the Commanders, but you're going to be better too. Are you glad Russ is starting? Y for yes, N for no. 86% voting yes. I like it. Again, folks, we'll be live every week with news, rumors, watch parties, and more, so do not miss out. Hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. That is it for today's live show, a short on Perion Winfrey on the channel already. Another VOD, another video coming up here in about 20 minutes will be on the channel too, breaking down the quarterback stuff for the Giants. So don't miss out. Hit that sub button right now.